You're live. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Cool.
Oh, I did that again. Sorry, man.
Someday we will master that. We should pre-record it and then drop it in. Okay, good. So we're live. Hey guys, I'm Daniel Norton. Welcome to On Set. We are streaming only on YouTube today, not on Facebook. So if you're on YouTube watching this, then I don't know why you care that. But if somehow you communicate with your Facebook friends, because there was some kind of a glitch last week where the audio was off, so we're trying to fix that. If you're sitting here in the store, then the audio should be right on. I'm hoping. Yes. Okay. Good. All right. We're making sure. If not, then we can figure out that's wrong. So today we're going to talk about, I forget what I call it exactly. We're going to talk about constant light and we're going to talk about flash. Now, a couple of weeks back, I did the intro to flash class. If anyone went to that, the crowd goes wild. So, and I kind of showed at the beginning of that, like why flash is great because it's so powerful and it can stop action. And that may lead you to believe that you shouldn't use constant lights. And that's not really the case either. I think that each one has their benefit. And I think the main reason to use constant lights that we're going to focus on today is stuff that it does that the flash doesn't really do, specialized stuff. Because if you're just going to stick your light in a softbox and make portraits, and you're a photographer and not a videographer, and you don't need any motion, then probably using flash is the way to go. And that's as simple as it is, because flash has got a lot of benefits to it. But if you're going to do video, if you want to do more creative stuff, if you want to use specialized tools to shape your light and create stuff that's a little more interesting than just a standard kind of softbox light, then that's where you start delving into the constant light sources, in my opinion. And that's what I do. I have flash, and you see me use it all the time. And I buy specific constant lights to do specific things that constant lights do that flash doesn't really do the same. So, yeah, we have Ashley today. I think I skipped her. And Seth on the Mighty Mix. And yeah, so we're going to do it. So I guess I'll just start off very briefly by saying that if you didn't see the basic flash thing, the reason to go with flash in general is that flash is very powerful, relatively speaking. Because if you're in a space where none of the light in the space affects your shot, let's say a totally and completely black room with no light in it, your flash has what's called a flash duration, which is the amount of time the flash is firing. Essentially, that's your shutter speed if none of the light in the space is affecting your shot. So if I'm in a very dark space and I fire my flash, and even if my camera is set at 1 second, if none of the light in the space affects my shot, my shutter speed effectively is tremendously fast. 1,000th of a second, 8,000th of a second, 20,000th of a second, depending on your flash. That's why flashes are great at stopping splashes. They're great at stopping if you're doing dance photography, you want to stop the hair flying. You want to, anything that's going to stop motion and freeze things. Oh no, Cliff.
Just say hello.
It's Cliff Hausner. Do you want to come up here and pass out your pamphlets?
No, I don't.
Okay, all right. All right, so.
Thanks, Cliff. My pleasure.
So that's really the power of flash, right? You've got that, and if you're going to be a stills photographer, I usually say eventually you'll end up using flash because it has all those benefits, right? You can come into your space and you can own that space. So here we are in Adorama. If you guys want to come in Adorama and own it, so own it like in a cool, funky way, not like own it. I don't think it's for sale. But anyways, then flash is great because we're here. You can see all these lights lighting me. It's like we're on stage here. But I can take my flash unit, which I have a Profoto D2, right here. And if you want to buy one, it's got a price right on it. I have Ashley. Come stand in front of the paper, please, Ashley. We can set our camera so that none of the light in the space is affecting our shot. Now, the way that we're going to do that is we're going to set our ISO at the lowest that the camera goes within its normal range. That's going to give you the lowest amount of noise. We're going to set our shutter speed at the maximum synchronization speed. Every camera, I should say, has that. It's basically the speed in which you can synchronize a flash at that speed or slower. If your camera has a 250th of a second flash sync like mine does, and I set my camera at 1,000th of a second, when I use my flash, it will not cover the whole frame. It'll fire, the flash will not complete. So we'll actually do that. I don't think I've ever done that before live.
Yeah, just not on purpose.
Just not on purpose, yes. So we'll do that just to kind of show you guys. So we'll start off this way. Can I maybe use a light meter?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. So these Profoto flashes have what's called TTL, which is through the lens metering. I could just use that, but I think we'll use a light meter just to kind of do some comparisons today. So come forward a little bit. A little more. Just a little bit. Good. All right. All right, so I'm using a beauty dish with the grid, Profoto beauty dish. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to I know two settings, right? I know my shutter speed and I know my ISO. So I'm going to plug those into my light meter. 250. 250 at 100 ISO, those are in there. And I'm gonna use my flash meter to get the aperture that I want. Now, what aperture do I want? Right? So, you want the aperture that will give you a dark frame, a frame that none of the light in the space is affecting your shot. That's gonna matter where you are. The easiest way to do it is to grab your camera, which has a light meter inside of it. This one does anyways. And I'm gonna basically set those two numbers, and then I'm going to look through the camera at Ashley. And I'm gonna look at my little meter on the side, and I'm gonna, your meter usually has like up and down about 3 stops. Just move it until you're about 3 stops underexposed. So right now I'm at F8 and I'm cleanly there, but let's see if I go, it looks like I can go all the ways to about 5.6 and still be dark, so I'll do that. Let's see if that's true. So I make a photo, I am in capture 1. Here, you guys can see, and my photo is in fact a black frame, which is what we're going for. If I grab my slider over here, just to kind of show you guys, I'm going to drag it over until I see her. Oh, there she is. I'm about 3.5, 3 stops underexposed. Okay?
What's her name?
Her name is Ashley. Okay, so now we know 5.6 is the number we're going for. So I'm going to grab my meter. I'm going to press the button. Don't look right at it because it's going to flash. I'm going to point it towards the light source. And I'm getting 8.5 roughly, so I'll turn this down about 2 stops. I'm just adjusting it up a little bit at a time to get it exactly where I want it. 5.6. Okay, so now the flash is reading 5.6. So I can take my camera, my trusty camera, and I can point it at Ashley. I'll turn on my remote. Make sure I'm in the right channel and everything. Yeah, I'll put the modeling light on. What's that? Yes, please. All right, so I've got the modeling light on. Do I? Yep. Let's see. I am in 3A, so I'm going to set this at 3. So setting it so that there's a fire. There it is. All right, so we're just going to line up and take a shot. And that's a, decently exposed photo. Now, here's the thing. If I am working with Ashley like this, and I'm in this space right here, and I'm looking through my camera, this is not what I see, right? What I see is I can clearly see with my eyes, I can see that background's lit. This light actually, to my eye, looks darker than that. So flash is one of those things that you have to kind of learn how to use because it doesn't look the way it looks to your eye. You have to kind of adapt to it and learn and use the numbers, right? So it's definitely worthwhile if you're going to stick with that, but if you're going to stick with stills photography. But one advantage that you'll have by using constant light source is that you can just see it. Like if I just shot with the light in the room, I can see what it looks like, right? And I can move around and, I've got a lot of freedom. Does that make sense? So without turning on any lights, we'll you leave this? I'll switch this over to ambient mode and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a meter reading here and shoot for the space. So I'm going to point it at the light, which is the light above her, right? And what I do is I didn't change anything. The simplest way to do this is just get a reading, which is 0.056. So if you have one of those new super fast Nikon lenses that's coming out for the mirrorless, right, you can shoot that. Since I don't have that, I'm now just going to adjust my shutter speed on my meter and just keep bringing it down until I get the exposure I want. It's not going to be exact. It says 1/4 of a second, I'm at 4.5. So that's good. I'll try that. So if I shoot at 1/4 of a second at 4.5, I should get a good ambient exposure. I'm not going to use my flash right now. This is just, oops. I will keep running into that the whole time. No, yeah, with the overhead is good. Oops, I moved. All right, so I'm shooting 1/4 of a second. That looks great. I already posted it on my Instagram. It has so many likes. Let's see. Yes, look at that filter. Okay, so we got a couple things going on. Let's try it again. Right. All right, so a couple of things here, right? This is fantastic, but I have to be more aware of the color of the light, right? Because flash is daylight, right? This modeling light is not. This is clearly a lot warmer than that, right? The light in the space actually, these overhead fluorescents are actually a daylight balance more or less, so you can see that's correctly exposed. You know, I don't have control of where it is right now, which I'm going to take care of in a second. So this is now shooting with available light. So when I talk about shooting with constant light, that doesn't just mean shoot with the light that's there. Because if you're a photographer, you want to make your light. We can make light to use in this space that will make the space or the shot look really good. That's our plan, right? And we can use certain tools to do that. And that's where like some of these like hot lights and things like that come in. So does that make sense so far? What I'll use first, just because it'll be easier, is I'm going to grab this. This is a relatively new innovation. Yeah, this is if you ever worked in an airport, now not so much the stick with the LEDs on it, but the fact that this is a RGBW light, right? So RGBW is red, green, blue, green, white. I missed the blue part. So what that means is this can be basically any color, right? Right now it's actually at 3200 Kelvin, which is tungsten, so it actually is going to make her face warm, right? If we want it to be daylight balance, I can move it over to 55. And that should be closer to the light that's in the space, right? So right off the bat, having that ability means that I can just turn this modeling light off because I'm not using it. I can walk into a space like this where I'm using fluorescent lights and I can decide, hey, you know what? I like the light in this space, but I need a little more control. I can come in with this guy and I basically can, oh, that's my color control. That's R, yeah. Exactly. And I can basically come in with this like this. So turn it up a little bit so I can get a better exposure. It's dimmable, right? Daylight. Now, if I'm going to work in a space like this, though, and I go like this, I'm like, well, I want the most light possible. I can see, just by looking at it, right? What can I see? Don't look right at the light. That's LEDs. This is brighter than that, right? Which means I'm going to have the same problem with the background darkness. But because it has a dimmer, with my eye, I can basically look at this and dial it in so it looks where it needs to be. I don't have to worry about a light meter. I don't have to worry about anything to balance that out, right? I can just kind of look at it and make that call. Right? Does that make sense? That's an advantage, right? Maybe I should put it on a light stand, but I didn't bring a little quarter 20 thing. I need a volunteer. Really? No volunteer? Come. Come forward to be judged. So, this moment right here is a teaching moment. Do you know why? Not only are you going to hold this light correctly, like that, make her look good, because she doesn't look good unless you light her right. For every person that sends me a DM, for every time I get an email, for everybody who's like, hey, Daniel, you have all this equipment, you have all this stuff, I'm just by myself, what do I do? And I always say, ask somebody who's standing there to hold the light for you. And guess what? I just did that, right? Do I know you? A little bit. Yeah, we're buddies. We hang out. Yeah, he's my friend. All right, but you know, if he wasn't. All right, so you're good. I'm gonna use the meter in my camera. Does that look good? Do you think it looks good? Yeah. You want to get closer with it? A little closer? There we go. Don't drop it on her. All right, you got it. All right, so I don't want to shoot at a quarter of a second. That would be silly. And you realize, I don't know, I don't want to brag or anything here, but this is a 2.8 lens. I'm gonna shoot 2.8. So, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in here. Actually, I'm gonna go to, should I risk it? I'm gonna go to aperture priority. 400 ISO, aperture priority. It's crazy. You're crazy. I think, all right, so I'm gonna come in. So the camera's telling me this is a 50th of a second. I should be able to hand hold that, because, did you blink? You know blinking, right? So now the background's dark. So clearly you moved it too close. I blame you right there. No, you're good. Put it right where it is. Okay. Nice. 40, good, good, good. And we can just keep dialing this in until we get the back. Now we're getting a little more gray back there, right? Actually, I'm going to give myself some exposure compensation. Did I leave the thing on her nose again? I do that. You're doing a good job. Yeah. All right. I mean, you got to watch the position. I get it. Yeah. All right. See that? Like, look at her face. Get a nice light on there.
Want to put a little more light?
No, it's good. Position is key here. We don't want to put big shadows under her eyes. She's not scary yet, right? There we go. We're getting a nicer light. That's a butterfly. If you guys want to go through all the different lighting, that's your butterfly, right? I'm going to do the Rembrandt. I'm not going to do a Rembrandt. Seth will yell at me. We're not going to do it. No Rembrandt. All right. Right, and we can basically move the light around to shape her face however we like it, right? Make sense? Easy? Simple? It's so shallow, 2.8. Oop, I'm all tied up here. Excellent job. All right,
Thank you.
let's see if you can figure it out.
This for the Sony?
Is it for the Sony? Yes, 100%. That's the other thing, right? It's for anything, right? Constant light could be used for anything. I could do, you know what else I could use with this? My phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could. I could bust my phone out, take a picture, I'd be done, right? That's the thing, right? Thank you. You can say, thank you for helping. Yeah, so basically, yay, woo. All right, so good job. You can see it, right? It's easy to adjust. It's really fast, right? But this I could do with the flash, right? Because it's daylight. But what's cool about this, and I kind of spoiled it. I spoiled it by pressing the wrong button before. Because it's RGBW, I can hit this button here, and I can make it Ashley's favorite color, terrible pink, right? So basically with this, I can adjust to make it whatever color I want, right? You know, sure, you see a lot of stuff on Instagram, right? You guys are on Instagram, you're like, oh, I'm on Instagram. And like all these people with their gels, and they're like, oh, blue gel. Well, you know, blue hot light, right? It's like you can basically adjust and change your color at will. This way you don't have to worry about going through tons and tons of gels. I could get this, and I could basically just dial it down to get whatever mood I want and change it really, really quickly. This is not something that is easy to do with the flash because that's just like a warm yellow, green. All right, so anyways, so this is an advantage. I think if you're gonna go to the hot lights or you're gonna add it to your kit, something like this is the, I should probably say what things are. This is the Savage RGB wand. Oh, it's a wand. They make a lot of different kinds like this. I recommend if you're gonna get one of these kind of like sticks of light, get RGBW. Why wouldn't you not want to have all the different colors? It really is cool to be able to do that, right? What color do you like? Pick a color. Don't look, see what it is. Did you see? She looked to see what it was. I had to hide it from her. Make her pick a color.
What color, guys? Tell me.
Red.
Red.
Perfect. All right. So we have red on here. We can make it moody. Right? Oh yeah, she's so red.
Very Star Wars.
All right, here we go. If you don't have any friends, I could do it, but I'm gonna see if I can pull it off by myself because you know I'm kind of.
Have her hold it herself.
Oh, I'll have her hold it herself. I just came up with that idea by myself. Don't drop it. This is why you don't hand the model stuff. Look at that. I got a charger for it now. She broke it. Thanks for coming, guys. Don't have the light anymore. I can't. Okay, she got it fixed. Okay. Jeez. All right, here we go.
I don't know where to hold it.
Okay. Okay, that is crazy. Yeah. Whoosh. Yeah, well, this is why I don't shoot an aperture priority. All right. So.
X-Men Dark Phoenix saga.
Yeah, this is okay. So that was, if you ever do something like this and it's crazy off and you're just like, look at the shot because I'm in aperture priority. So I'm gonna look at it. This is a 50th of a second at 2.8. It's way overexposed, right? So I'm just gonna come in and put it back in manual, which is where cameras belong. And that was spot metering, I think. No, what metering mode was that? Oh, actually, I'm in the box, the overall metering. So yeah, I could change the metering mode. That is a good call. Whoever said that online, I'll switch to spot metering to see if it does a better job in aperture priority. I'm gonna go for it because I know you guys love aperture priority. You ready? We're gonna try it again. Don't hold it in a better spot than I did because that's gonna make me look bad. All right, still too bright. That's spot metering on her eye. What's happening though is because this light is red, the camera doesn't know what the hell. It's like, what? Yeah, the spectrum's all over the place. So it doesn't know. So we do a test shot, then we're gonna throw it in manual. I mean, that's at least, well, actually, I'm in capture one.
Do it in
I'll,
blue or green or pink. Do it in pink
there we go.
blue.
So I'm in capture 1. I'm going to go down. We can try pink. Pink is just light red. Uh-oh, that's a controversial statement right there. 1.79 stops. So I'm going to come in here. So what is it? What is the difference between a 50th of a second? So if I want 1.79 stops darker, what stop? What should I was 1.79. Let's go. What does that even mean? All right. All right, there we go. That's 1.79. Perfect. All right, so now she's red.
Now she's in the Americans.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I will say this, though. You're going to get this, and you're going to spend like your first day shooting these pictures. Throw those all away, because don't just make it red. That's just silly. You want to mix light if you're going to use color stuff. But it's fun. It's useful, right? Something we can work with. In fact, we could even mix it with the flash. I know what you're saying. That's wild.
So we were confused when you said you did exposure comp.
Okay, so I put flash, so I'm going to roll back to how I did that. So I used exposure compensation at first. So when you're in aperture priority, wow, I never talk about this kind of stuff. So when you're in P, professional mode, right? Aperture priority or shutter priority mode. Is there like an ISO priority? I don't know what that is. So when you're in those modes and the camera's making the decision for you, and then you're in a situation where you know that it's not going to do a good job, let's say it's heavily backlit, you can do what's called exposure compensation. What that does is it basically tells the camera, hey, I know you want to expose it like this, but, you know, and then you adjust for it, right? That's what you do if you're in aperture priority. I went back to manual because, yeah, 5 shots a year in aperture priority is pretty much my limit. So I'm just not feeling it. All right, I'm going to bring my flash back into play here. Now, the flash, we're going to still use that red light, though. So, when we were shooting with the flash, what were we shooting at? 5.6, right? So I'm going to go back to 5.6. We were shooting at 100 ISO, though. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to take 2 stops of light off the flash, right? Because I'm at 400 ISO now. I'm going to go up here, turn this down 2 stops. Okay. And I'm back at 5.6. Let's see. Can you hold it in the exact same spot again? That's pretty close. Whoa, what happened there? I went to 5.6, right? So at 5.6, this is now my key light because it's brighter than the 2.8 that I was shooting with the other light at. Does that make sense? So I can dial this in a couple of different ways. I could either, because I'm in TTL, if I go in TTL, I could dial the aperture, but because I'm not going to use TTL, I can use my shutter speed to make the red darker or brighter. So right now I'm at 200th of a second, 5.6. So let's go to 250. Kind of boxed myself in there, but that's okay. Right, now it's a little bit darker on that side. In order to get even darker, I would have to do high-speed sync, and that's for the next week for the advanced flash class. So we're going to skip that for now. Or I can change my aperture, right? So I'm going to go to, actually, let's do this. As to not, because I know what happens. Somebody is joining online right now and doesn't know where we're at, and it's going to confuse them. So I'm going to start from scratch so it's not weird. What we want to do is we want to mix the constant with the flash, okay? Does that make sense? That's what we're doing right now. I want my constant light to be my key light. I mean, my flash to be my key light, and I want my constant light to be like my shadow fill, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with an exposure that I have some room to move. So I'm going to come in, and I'm going to get my flash exposure set first. I'm going to go f8, 100 ISO, 2/50th of a second, because that's where I normally go with flash, right? I'm going to put it in TTL. No, actually, I'll use it in manual, because you can use a meter, because that way it's more open to what you guys will do.
They're asking where your Hasselblad is.
Where is my Hasselblad? That is a good question. Oh, where's my Hasselblad? Got the Canon again. I've been mixing it up a lot. I was using Nikon yesterday. Actually, earlier I was. Keeping it fresh. Funky fresh, as we say. So I'm going to dial this up to get f8 to get my exposure set again, right? That's 5, 6. Gotta stop. I just like to do that. Okay. Here we go. Forgetting about the red light for a second. I'm going to come in and make an exposure with this, right? We want to get our flash exposure correct first. That looks pretty good. I'm going to make more shadow because they can see it better if I do that. So I'm just going to do that by kind of having her come closer to me. If I come more to the side, like this, right, we're going to throw more shadow. Does that make sense? There we go. Okay, that's our shadow side. Now we can fill that with the red. And the way we do that is we come in with the red and we can meter it using our ambient meter. So I'm going to start again by setting it at the same place, 250. So right now it's like less than F1, right? So that's like a lot of stops too dark. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to make it equal to start. So 1/4 of a second, right, makes it equal. So I'm going to go 1/4 of a second. Don't worry, I won't do a pop and blur. That's next week.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I don't do it as good as you, but I mean, you can. That's why I keep you here. School me. All right. All right. That was 1/4 of a second. Okay, so the meter says that's right. It's too bright. Remember, we metered earlier. It wasn't exactly right because it's confused because it's only one spectrum. So I think maybe like 1/8 of a second might be a good space. Right, so I'm finding a spot. All right, so now we have red shadows, right? That's almost basically, balanced as far as like the color. Now, if we want, we can make it darker and darker just by bringing our shutter up. So that's, hold it in one space, I'm gonna take a couple. So that's 1/8 of a second. I'm gonna come up to a 15th, which is one stop more. I'll do one more. 30th, another stop. One more, up to a 60th, right? And now I'm, adding it a little bit at a time to see what I like. So if you're playing around with this kind of technique, this is a good way to do it because you can see how your shutter speed is affecting the shot, right? My aperture is not changing, my ISO is not changing, the flash is not changing, but my fill is, because my fill is my constant light source. Does that make sense? Yes.
So you can have the shutter of the flash be different than on the camera? Like the speed of the flash be different than the speed on the camera?
So can I have the speed of the flash be different than the speed on the camera? Well, not exactly. The flash's shutter speed is its flash duration. So that's set by the flash. You don't control that. It is what the flash is. So it is actually different. The flash is only going off for a very, very small period of time. And when I shoot, right, I guess we'll do a quick pop and blur. I won't do a good one though, don't worry. What you'll get is, I'll come down to the slower shutter so I have time to move. I guess this one. That's
You got a 1/4 second to get it.
all right, so I'll do a 1/4 of a second, right? So if I do a 1/4 of a second, and hold it up and there. So what we're gonna do is when the flash goes off, you're just gonna like turn your face this way, I guess. That makes the most sense, right? Yep, okay. Yeah, so come this way. When the flash goes off, then go. Make sense? And good. Right? So we can see that where none of the light hit, it's sharp, and over here it's all of a blurry mess because this exposure is a 1/4 of a second. This is the flash duration. Does that make sense? Yeah. Well, you want to go the other way? I mean, I don't want to do a good one. I was just.
Again, just have her face completely towards the light and have her move all the way out of it.
Oh, move physically.
Like this and out of that flash.
Yeah,
So
but
you'll
the-
see it.
No, I know, but they can see the point. Okay. So he just wants me to make a good shot, which I'm going to do that next week.
If you want to be
Okay. All right. Go ahead. And go.
Came out on a good, nice day. See?
Yeah, there we go. So we can see sharp, right? Actually, even sharp here, right? And then, what did I do there? In her hair is another person. That's a little creepy. That's all I'm going to say. Not only that, it's a red person in red hair with red light. A lot of red going on. Okay, so flash, good for stopping stuff, right? It's clean, it's good like that. The constant light, so far, what we're talking about is doing things like color control really easily and doing things where you can do blurs and things like that. You may shoot something where you want it to be blurry, and you're not going to get that with the flash because the flash is going to stop it. So if I want to do a motion where something's like spinning or blurry, it will not be blurry with the flash. This is where constant lights can come in, just specifically for that, whether mixing it with the flash or not. Does that make sense so far? Okay, cool. That's one thing. When these are relatively new, and also, see, I start off with the less expensive stuff, so I don't get. This is pretty cheap. I don't know what it costs, but these aren't that expensive, right? And you like this. People buy these for their houses. Like everybody in Brooklyn has one of these. They're like not. Well, just any. Yeah, this is the Savage one. It's plus it's called the Wand, which I think is kind of fun. Oh, and you can also control saturation for the pink. Because you asked about pink, right? 160, 160 bucks. You spend that in coffee. That's right, nothing. Pick one up right now. It's for Sony. All right. Everything is better when it's free. Yes, I can't help you there. Okay. This is probably one of my favorite lights ever. Cliff's gone, right? Okay, good. Oh, sorry. This is a dado light. It is a tungsten fixture, right? What makes this different than a lot of other tungsten fixtures is that it uses spherical lenses. Like you probably read that a lot when you're reading all your camera reviews, right? Spherical lenses. So the lens on this thing, kind of like a camera lens, right? I'm assuming this camera's on. What does that mean? It gives you a smooth circle of light. It gives you control. If you just buy a work lamp, you know, at a hardware store, and you point it at somebody, you can light them up, and that sometimes is a good way to work. The thing is, it's not even, it's not going to be precise. This is a precision tool, right? So I'll show you here. Okay, so I take this guy, right? It's got a dimmer on it, and I can produce a very even circle of light, right? Which means that if you're one of the 87,000 people that email me a day asking how do you do Hollywood glamour, and you want to hit somebody in the face with a hot light, this is the kind of light, I mean, they use Fresnels, but this is like the upgrade to that, right? This is going to create even light on the face, even skin tone, right? So if we take this, maybe you can even sit this time. With hot lights, we let people sit down. It's like that, it's a part of the rules. Because I'm going to move it around you. So I could take that, I know, see, yeah, you're going to be blind by it. I can shine this right on her grill. On her grill. That's why I had her sit down. She would have fallen over otherwise. If you want your model to cry, this is like the, right. So we can create punchy, hard, moody light. Yeah, well, I can dim it down too. I have it cranked right now. Is that better for you? Suck it up. All right. So, right. So I'm gonna, don't look right at it. It takes a few minutes. If you're gonna shine a bright light on somebody's face, I mean, I'm being mean because I am mean. But yeah, it's best not to like crank it on their face like immediately. They'll get used to it though. You'll get used to it. Don't do this on light-eyed people. I picked her on purpose because she has dark eyes. If you know people with like blue eyes and you hate them, like this is perfect. All right, so I am at 60th of a second. I am 5.6 1/2. I can go 125. No, actually, I'll shoot at 2.8 because I have a 2.8 lens. So 250, 2.8 1/2. Now, I can tell you right now that if I make a photo with this light, it's going to look orange because it is a tungsten light, right? Or I can just set my white balance to tungsten and not worry about it. I'm going to do two things. When you're using a tungsten light like this, I always recommend to put some kind of a gel in the front of it. This is an opal. Right, it's just a tiny bit of diffusion, just breaks it up a little bit. What does diffusion do? It diffuses, right? Yeah, it breaks up the specular highlights. It's exactly what he said. Now, I'm going to dial my camera in to 125, to 2.8, 100 ISO. That's good. You can look right here. Bring your face back a little bit. Right here. Good. There you go. You can look like you're not enjoying this, because I can tell you're not. Right? Right? And we can create this like creamy light on her. Now, let me just go in and fix my white balance so you guys don't... Tungsten. There we go. I mean, I actually like to leave it a little bit warm when I'm shooting tungsten, because I feel like that's part of the vibe, right? But it's sharp. Why? Because fast shutter speed, because that's a bright light, right? Clearly it's bright. It's punchy. It's shaping her, right? My settings are 125, 2.8, 100 ISO. So now, when you're using a light like this, one of the most basic tools, barn doors, right? We're going to use these to shape the light and put it where we want it. So Fresnel lenses, the difference between spherical and Fresnel is Fresnel lenses are concentric circles, which helps make a more even spread of light, but the spherical lenses is smoothed out to create a more even circle. So it creates a much more even circle, much more even. Fresnel is nice as well. But yeah, Fresnels do flare very nicely. So now I can use the barn doors to shape the light if I want to keep it someplace and not other places, right? So let's say I just want to light part of her. Like this. That's a little better, right? Yeah, I'm too nice to you now. Now, the barn door is black, and look at this little slit that's open right here. You probably can't see it. Like, there's a lot of light not coming through this, so obviously I got to adjust for that. So I'll meet her again. Color spectrum, tungsten, both strobe. They're both very good. I mean, yeah, they both have everything. Well, good strobe, anyways. Good strobes. All right. So I'm going to shoot at a 60th. It looks like. I'm going to shoot at a 50th because that feels. But filmmakers shoot at a 50th. Well, 48th, but I don't have that.
Name of this light.
This light is called Dado Light DLHM4-300. Yeah, that's cool then. DEDO. DEDO. Okay, good. Right? Now we've got control, right? We're able to take our light from that to that, right? Pretty simply, right? Yes, they make barn doors for some strobes. I've never seen a strobe barn door that does that. Never. And I've used a lot of them, yes.
It's a focus light.
Does it focus? Absolutely. Didn't you see me focus on the thing? Rewind the video. Yes, I should point out too that this light does focus. This is actually another term that people often use that it's wrong. Something like a grid on your softbox does not focus the light. It controls the spread. When you focus the light, it also intensifies it. So that's an advantage of a focusable light, or a disadvantage, I guess, depending on what you're doing. Now, let's say that we like this kind of vibe. You know what I'm going to do? Let's add some color, because Instagram loves that stuff.
Blue. Do blue.
Blue.
You're already in warm. Go cold.
I'm dialing. I'm dialing. I'm dialing. I'm dialing. Oh, you know what it is? I think I have this.
Blue. Yellow.
No, I have the saturation turned up. Blue. Are you making fun of my very first Adorama video?
That was the fun.
It still exists, so if you guys want to find it, yes.
How many colors can Daniel name?
Blue.
These are the offerings.
These are the offerings. You know what? Screw you. We were paving the way for people like you. Hold on a second.
That was the funniest.
They make fun of my video, guys. If you find my very first video on Adorama and post a comment on it, I will reply back to you.
It was so good.
It's just terrible.
In that big Adorama shirt.
Wow, he's just making fun of me, isn't he? That's not very nice. That's not a nice person, is he? Let's admit
No
that.
one's blind in this poor girl.
No, you're gonna move it. Bring your face this way.
Don't you?
Down. Come this way slightly. I'm just trying to get the legs that color one. I could also move the light, but that's just more work than that. This is precision lighting, because clearly where she moves is going to be super important. So, yeah, when you're doing portraits like that, oh yeah, there you go, perfect. You can like, do exactly that, but close your eyes for a second. That way you're not blinded while I get the camera. Okay, and when I tell you to, you can open it. This is when you steal her wallet. Okay. See how she moved? What the models these days? And you turn. What are you doing? This is what I have to deal with, people. This is what I have to deal with. Non-union. Non-union. Man.
Come on, man.
It's a hard life, I have to tell you that right now.
It's very difficult.
It is. We're very serious here.
Can't make me laugh.
I'm not making you laugh. I'm waiting for you.
Alright.
I'm ready.
Let's do this.
Yep, let's do it. Okay, there we go. Open for a second. Good. Ooh, that's terrible,
What
but cool.
filter is that?
That's an Instagram filter right there.
That's Instagram.
For some reason, you're half underwater. I don't know what's going on there.
That's a nightclub shot.
Oh, God. I'm not a big underlighting person, but you know, because you guys, her chin's getting this like, which isn't my thing, but if it's your thing, more power to you. Let's take that away. Let's have you move into the light so we can come this way. Good like that.
Now you're a pro, right?
Just like that. What you just did there. Go around the back. What do you want to be on camera all the time? Look at this guy. He's trying to do my job.
All right.
All right. Don't move it. Make sure it's perfect. If this is terrible, it's this guy. All right. Here we go. Good, good, good. Trim down a smidge. Right there. Hold, focusing. Good. Oop, one more. Good. Right? Right? Moody. Right? Moody. You like that? You did a good job. Good job. I'll give you a credit for that. Right? We're creating mood. We're creating depth. This is basically easier to do. We just give it back to her. You're just like, done.
No, if I want to.
No. Go for it. You got. It's fine. You're gonna give up that easy.
Take over my home.
All right. Don't make me call security. All right. So, thank you again. So now we're able to create, this very simply. And an advantage here is this. Yeah, you can use gels and small flashes would be good for this actually to keep it really condensed, but it would take more time to figure it out because the flash you can't see it. So one huge advantage of your constant light sources is the ability to see it, right? So barn doors are pretty common. Don't look at the lights. I'm gonna open. But when you're using a dado like I am, modeling lights. A modeling light will give you an idea of where the light's falling, but not the actual exposure value of the light relative to everything else. So they're useful, but they're not the same. This is a, what's that? This is a projection attachment. They actually do make one of these that goes onto one of the ProPhoto heads, so this does exist. This is actually a DP1. Now they're on 1.1, so they're working their way up. This one is fitted with the 85mm lens. And what we can do with this is, well, you can throw projection on the wall and stuff. We can do that later, I guess. Let me turn this one off for a second. Okay. So if we take this gives us even more control, right? This is our spotlight. Perfect. Just like that. Right? We got our spotlight going. Do a reading. Let's see. This is giving me 1.4 to 60.
They're asking why you're not using in-camera meter.
So I'm not using the in-camera meter for this because the light is only on one part of her. So I find it easier to work this way. Normally, if I'm doing this for a personal project, I'll get set up with the camera meter, not the camera meter, the handheld meter, and then once I'm set, okay, it's a little dark. I'm gonna bump my ISO here, just so I'm not going too slow on the shutter. And I'm gonna come up to 125. Let's see what that does. It's gonna be extra warm because I have the light dimmed. So when you dim a light, it warms it up a bit. So if you're gonna work with a dimmed light like this, then you probably wanna do a custom white balance if you don't like it warm. So keep that in mind. But, all right, that's fine. We can make that little circle of lights like a spotlight. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. But you knew I wasn't gonna stop there. Is that on? Am I doing it again? Iris, okay.
That'd be great if it wasn't on. I would have died.
This is an iris. This is gonna allow me. Now, granted, I normally use this for product photography, but, you know, models, products, same thing.
Block into what it's doing.
Okay.
Like
Ooh.
Looney Tunes.
Just like Looney Tunes, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. All right, so. And also, by the way, I guess I'll do both because they probably can't see, right? Can you see that well? Probably not. Well, that you can focus it and defocus it. Okay, so I will do 2 shots. So I can take this light here. I'm gonna shine it right in your eyeball. Get ready for it. Bring your chin up a bit. Good. I'm actually gonna put shine in your other eye. Yeah. So we're basically gonna come over here. Just for a second, look at me. Okay, close. All right, that's good. So I'm basically just lighting her eyeball. I'm gonna turn. That's how you blind people right there. I'm not gonna do that. All right. Sorry. I turned it down again, I swear. All right, so we're gonna point this at her eye, because that's the kind of person I am. Wow, no wonder why it's blinding her. Yeah, wow, okay, jeez. Let me turn it down a little bit. Let me turn that down a little bit. That's bright.
Sending to Dr. Bell.
Yes, okay. So basically, I'm gonna try to get myself at, yeah, okay, we're gonna go 125. At 2.8 roughly. I'm just dimming it up and down to get roughly what I want. We'll do a test shot. You can have your eye closed for the test. Yeah. That's good. Okay, bring your chin up a smidge. Right there, hold. Turn your head slightly to your left. Actually, you're right. There we go. Chin up a little bit. Right there. Okay. That's her eyeball. Right? Now, that's cool, right? No, right? It's kind of stupid right by itself. But when we add another light, you have to remember, the more lights you use, the more you get paid, right? So we're gonna bring your face into the light again. Sorry, that light. I know you don't want to. Don't worry, we'll get you a workman's comp. No, you're good. I need, yep, come. Think about right there is good. Well, here we are. Okay. This is where a macro lens would be nice, but you can close your eye for a second. Let me get set up. I'm just going to test. You can stay closed for a second. Okay, good. Bring your chin up a smidge, right there. And then open. Good. Right?
Spot.
Now we have a spot on our eye, right? And we can do a lot of fun things with that. Thank you. Good job. Right? We've got the blue with the warm.
People do blue and warm apparently.
Yeah, blue and warm is really cool. It's good for sports and stuff.
With some fog.
Throw some fog in there. All right, does that make sense? Right? This is something that you can only do with these kind of lights, or very specifically this kind of light. So it's a very specialized thing. So let's say, like we're just doing our eyeball. But if you've ever seen shots where people do, let's say you have a little circle of light on your cheek, cute. You've seen probably like beauty shots where like they do something with like lips or whatever, or like their tongue stuck out with a piece of jewelry on it or something. This is what this is great for, right? You can precisely light something because I have an iris, right? And I can go up and down and move it all around. If you want to go more kind of classic noir, let me go into my plastic bag here. You got these, right? Framing shutters. This is going to allow me, right? Turn back towards me again. Thanks for attending the last time that Ashley will ever work with us. Okay, so. What's her name? Ashley. Right, we can basically take our framing shutters and, well, you're about to see. We did a barn door earlier, right? Let's check out what the framing shutters can do. And I'll do a comparison. By the way, these are upside down and backwards, so if you're a 4x5 person, you'll probably be good at it. Bring your chin up a smidge. Not too much. Actually, leave it where it is. I'll just readjust the light. So if you do a lot of this kind of stuff, like this like noir thing, they actually make a projector that has the framing shutters built in. So I recommend that because it's a little bit easier. But if you're like me and you want to do everything, then bring your face more this way. Yeah. Huh. Then you got to kind of come in. So this is a very precise upside down and backwards deal. Right? That's pretty good. So what's cool about this is this. I can do this shot, right? Let me do it this way first. Right, this very kind of hard, right there, hold. I'm gonna have to do a test here for the light. Bring your chin up a smidge. I'm dimming the light up and down so we don't blind her. All right, that's pretty good. Okay, right? You saw the difference between that and the barn door. See how sharp and precise that is? But I can also focus and defocus it to make it more gentle. Chin up a smidge. Right? Oh, it's a little dark. It need more light because of the focus, but. So we'll do some comparisons here. I'm just gonna bring it up like that so you guys can see the difference. All right, so we've got defocused, we have focused, and then when you look at the barn doors, I know it's not exactly the same shot. Is that the barn door shot? Yeah. See the difference with the barn doors? Even with those barn doors pinched almost completely closed, it doesn't give you this control, right? It's good, you know, it has definitely something going on, but it does not give you what this does, right? This is precision, right? Precision, that's what this is about. All about getting it exactly where you want it. You can put gels in here, of course, and blah, blah, if you want to do that kind of stuff. Yes, sir. What about a snoot? I left my snoot back in 1984. I'll pick it up later. Nobody uses a snoot. Did Gavin use a snoot? He picked up my snoot from 1984. The thing about a snoot is similar, but not nearly as precise as basically what the projector does. It gives you a circle of light. The problem with a snoot is that it's very much a one-trick pony. You know, I'm much more of a grid person if I'm going to use that kind of stuff for strobes. It's the exact same thing, except it's called 2.1, I believe. Or it's basically data light. So data light makes the projector with the shutters built in. If that's the kind of work that you do a lot of, then I recommend getting that. The only problem with that is the one with the shutters built in, you can't put other stuff in. It just does that. I think you can buy the components and switch them too if you want. They actually sell an entire kit, which I have now, that has all different projectors in it. So it's super useful. This right here is a Gobo, right? It's a, oh yeah, we'll do it that way. First she's like a tiger?
What?
Like a tiger, right?
A tiger.
A tiger. She's like a tiger. No, because she's got the stripes. Yeah, exactly. Right? Right? We can do stripes if you want your light to look very artificial, right? But again, because this is focusable, I can do that, right?
They're asking if you use a gradient filter.
A gradient filter? Shouldn't have, right there. You mean, right? And I can now break it up. Again, this is all about control. Make sense, right? The different things you can do with it. Gradient filter?
I guess to change the exposure.
Oh, you mean like in the computer?
Like no, like on the light itself.
Oh yeah, I mean they make all different stuff. They make glass filters that have different effects. You can use scrims. I don't think I have any scrims with me because I didn't feel like that was really a necessary thing. But yeah, I don't have any with me. Sorry. What they do make though that's kind of cool that oh, hold on. Right there. Hold on. Sorry guys. I'm having a moment. Right, I'm seeing the various angles of the light, right, and mixing it together and seeing how it looks, around your face, and that's actually really useful technique to kind of look and see how things are falling. That makes sense. And again, I can do that because this is a constant light source, so I just happened to be walking by and I saw it. If it was a flash pointed at it, I wouldn't have seen that, right? So I think that's like an advantage. You can actually, if you're trying to really learn, like, to get beyond the, hey, I'm following this diagram that says to put a softbox here and a thing here, and you're trying to actually learn and shape and play with light, using something that's a constant light source is going to let you just move it around. And I say that a lot. I'm like, move the light around until it looks good, but how do you know if you've got a softbox? You don't see it, right? But with this, I can literally move it around until it looks good, right? So that's when I talk about that, that's what I'm talking about. This is not, I'll say right now, this is not an inexpensive light. It's $700, something like that. The projector, with the projector, it's maybe $15. There's other things that do this, right? The concept, if you buy like an Arri Fresnel, like a 300, they're maybe $400 or something. I don't know how much things cost. But this is better. Well, it dims, it's better focus. I mean, there's a lot of, it's a higher end light. Anything, that allows you to see is going to be a benefit to you. And I think that's really where the reasoning is. It's easy to say, oh, well, flash is better because you can stop action. But the reality is that there's certain benefits to using constant light that you might want to utilize. And actually using them together, like we did earlier, is a great way to work as well. So you've got a lot of different things. Like we could actually, okay, so let's try that. Oh yeah, we're doing good. Come a little forward. Actually come, yeah, exactly. We could do this. Right? We can put it on the background, which is kind of what it's made for, right?
Yeah, make it in the 80s with your snoot.
Yeah, we'll put it in there with the snoot. Right? By the way, so one of the uses of this thing, like not that long ago, before 5D Mark II, was that a lot of people did interviews with like camcorders, and a camcorder has a tremendous depth of field. So what you could do is put this behind somebody on the wall, and then just go, whoa, it's out of focus. And it would make it look like there was more distance because it would add depth because it's out of focus in the background. So you could do the same thing. If you want to shoot a beauty shot, let's say, and I want f11 so I get her whole head in focus, but I don't want the background to be, look in focus, I can literally throw this out of focus like that. And she could just be a few feet away from the background. So yeah, let's put you as close as you can without being in the light. I think we'll have it right there. Is that right? You're not in the light there, are you? Nah, good. All right, so let's do that. We're going to bring our beauty dish in. Try to not drop it on your head. Now what's cool about this is, so I'll turn the modeling light on so you guys can see how I'm doing it. I want to keep it off the background. I don't want to do that, right? Because it's going to hit my background. I want to bring it like this, nice and close. Normally I would move it over you, but I'm way too lazy to do that right now. So, plus I don't think you trust it after I've just blinded you. She's like, you're not putting anything over top of me right now. Right, okay, so we've got that going. I'm going to turn off this because I'm going to drag my shutter, right? You'll probably have to turn it off too. We'll see. I'm going to crank this up to full power because now it's not in her face, so I can do that without her complaining. And I'm going to see what that exposure is. Actually, I'm going to see what that exposure is at f8, we'll say. So what I mean by that is I'm going to set the camera at f8 and 100 ISO. That's how I want to shoot my beauty shot, right? Walk back here. Now, some modern meters, you can put the F in instead of the shutter speed. I don't think you can with this one. Maybe you can, let me see. Yeah, you can actually. So I'm going to put the f-stop in that I want. And I'm going to put in the ISO that I want. And then when I do this, it's going to give me a shutter speed. So actually it's saying, I don't think it's accurate. I think it's because of the, from experience, I can tell this is throwing it off because it's saying 1 second, which I don't think is correct. So I'm going to go with a quarter of a second because I think that's what we were getting last time. That was pretty good. So I'm going to go a quarter of a second at f8, 100 ISO. I like a quarter of a second for some reason. You might want to be on a tripod when you do this, but I didn't bring my tripod today. Right? Okay. That's pretty good, right? I am getting a little bit of ambient light from this, so we probably would kill this if we were actually doing a shoot, but it's fine. Yeah. Now I'm going to turn on the flash. I'll put it in TTL. Nah.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm putting TTL. Let's see what happens. All right, so I'm in TTL. Yeah, I'll dial it down a smidge. So I'm in spot meter mode, TTL, f8, a quarter of a second, right? Whoa.
Oh, and you're in tungsten.
And I'm in tungsten.
You're all over the place, sir.
Well, I got to change it here because the way capture one, no matter what I set the camera, it would have switched it because it takes it from the last exposure. So I got to shoot one, then change it here. Nope, that's the curve. They moved that down one step, so I have to remember to. So I'm going to switch this to flash. Oh, flash looks too warm. I'm going to switch it to daylight. There we go. It's a bit hot, a little bit, right? So I'm going to come into my flash exposure compensation. Actually, in typical pro photo fashion, I will switch to manual now because that's basically the best way to do that. And then I'm just going to take my flash and dial it down. We'll say half a stop. I'm going to focus on her. Good. Right, a little bit more off the flash. There we go. So now she's being lit with the flash, so she's completely still, even though we're shooting at a quarter of a second, right? The background is out of focus, right? Out of focus, right? We're cheating. But also, it's a little bit blurry probably because my hands are shaking. And just to show you that there's two different exposures, if I move, you see how the background's getting more blurry. In a quarter of a second, there's not that much to move, but right? So you can see, if I do that, here, where ambient light is touching her, like basically the background, it's making her head disappear. But here, where it's not, she's sharp, right? As the great Seth Miranda says,
What?
you got to make two different exposures.
Oh, it just happened.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Whoops. Hang on, guys.
It crashed because I gave Seth the compliment. That's what happens. Okay.
I like how it goes yellow.
It went yellow. All right, does that make sense? So you can use them together. You can mix them together. Each one has their own specific set of kind of skills that it's good for, or that you can use it for. And you can really, and we can mix several things that we did earlier. Let's do one final thing because I'm crazy. I'm going to slide this over. Remember we did this in the beginning? In the beginning. because the more lights you use, the more you get paid. We're going to do this.
Oh, yeah, three types of light, too.
3 types of light. Tungsten, LED, by RGB, W LED, and that might be too hot. No, actually it's pretty good. Kind of wish it was on her eye. Can you pull the your hair back on that side a little bit? Perfect. Thanks, Ashley. All right, let's do it. This is the money shot. Next season on whatever Fox show this is.
Whoa.
Whoa, what happened there? She's looking over. So again, now a quarter of a second on the exposure over here, right? So that side of her face is a little bit blurry. So we can have her look away from the light so her whole face is basically lit by the strobe. Move it back a little bit more. Your face, actually, this way. Good. Right, and this way we can get, at least primarily her face will be sharp. Does it look hot there? Yeah. So again, her face is sharp. This blue light that's lighting here is, it's, well, actually, you stood pretty still that time, so did I. So we basically got, again, 3 different light sources, 3 different types of light. We've got flash, right? Our exposure for our flash, shutter speed doesn't really matter. So our flash is ISO 100, we're at f8. The other sources, it matters. We're at a quarter of a second, ISO 100, f8. Does that make sense? We got a blue color changing LED. We've got tungsten light giving us, with the projector, giving us shape on the background. And we've got, again, a strobe with a beauty dish, right? Mixing it together, each one does its own thing really well. Easy as that. Questions, thoughts, concerns? No? Because it was super clear or it was super confusing? I never can tell. When there's no questions, it's hard to really say. Yes?
You could put a gel on the light in the front, or you like just like say you want to add colors to projection.
If I wanted to add color to the projection, yes, I could add a gel. Actually, there's a space right here on the dado between the projector and the thing that you would drop a gel. Because basically this is a gel. It's just a opal gel, which is diffusion. So you would just drop it there. If I had a color gel, I could just drop it in there and it would be color, yeah. I just don't have one with me. I haven't cut it in my bag. And that's what I do, actually. I have a bunch of gels cut to size, and I keep them with me. So for quick color changes, whenever somebody needs a color, I cut them, and then I just keep them. Am I going to get it back? I don't know. You said earlier you're going to take off.
No.
That's precious right there. That's an opal. All right. But yeah, you could definitely gel it if you want. Yep.
Don't put your finger oils on it.
Yeah, don't touch it with your fingers. Yes. Any other questions? Thoughts? Concerns? By the way, if you want to be cool, so I'll give you some cool tips now at the end. You want to be like, you know what this needs? Opal. Because then film people will be like, oh, opal. They know what you're talking about. Yeah, because they always use opal. But yeah, I mean, that's it. Should we do one more color with this? Pick a different color.
They're asking when you're mixing sources, what's the white balance?
So when I'm mixing sources, I base my white balance generally on my key light. So in this case, flash. Right? Make sense? I want my key to be neutral, generally speaking. It doesn't have to be, but that's generally what I would do, yeah. That's a good question, though, about the white balance. Other questions? Let's pick one more color. You have to dial.
Do green. Come on.
Oh, I hate green on the face. Yeah, I think you're doing it. Is that doing it? No. That's probably the exposure then. You have to hit here, I think. Yeah, there you go. Questions? We're gonna do one more shot. This is the shot. This is for her Instagram. Ooh, orange. Orange.
That's basically tungsten.
Well, not really, but it's like super orange. It's like the bad CTO gel they give you at cheap strobes. That's what it looks like. Oh, dark green.
Emerald.
Emerald. All right, we're doing it. We're going emerald. Oh yeah, hold it like that, like you just opened a pit full of treasure, a glowing emerald. But you have to stay very still. It's a quarter of a second. All right, you got it? You got it? Oh, I totally moved.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Wait, what I stopped you at?
8.
8, go to 9.
I'm going to 9. This one goes to 11.
Take the bite off that blade.
I'm taking the bite off. Snap into a Slim Jim. The whole thing still seems very bright.
Are you on TTO?
Nope. I love how one side of her face is blurry because it's funny because you look at it small and you're just like, look, it's really even, but look at that, whoosh. I think we gotta do this one as a blur. So look towards the light, right, with that there, and then do like a whoosh. All right, let's see if we can pull this off. Probably not. Actually, let me see your nose. Good, all right, and go. Nah. Perfect. It's not long enough, so we'll just do a longer exposure.
Well, she could just stay in that light, so she just shakes her head instead of moving all the way.
Oh.
Should just slow
Okay, shake your head like a maniac.
just keep it where it is and just,
Okay. Well, let me focus. There we go. She's not letting me focus. She's just throwing her head around like that song. All right, here we go, and go. Well, you gotta do it multiple times.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That's not good.
That is not the way to end. All right, here we go. We're gonna do this. Turn towards the strobe. We're gonna do the green. Let's just get a badass shot. Mostly your face there, right? This is gonna be basically a fill on the cheek like we did on the other one. Yeah, there we go. That's perfect. Don't move, let me just look.
What light is this?
Okay, hold on, I think that's a smidge hot. This is the D, ooh, that's actually very nice. Do exactly that, Ashley, except I gotta check my exposure. It's a DLH, DLH M4. 300. There's basically two versions. One has the built-in, oh, no wonder why. I had the exposure slider over there. There we go. Done. I had adjusted that exposure earlier to show you guys. Yeah, there we go. All right, so you've seen me now put green on a person's face. Oh, what's that? Okay.
Yeah.
You've seen me now put green on a person's face, which I never do, but I did that for you guys because I love you. I'm just gonna say, I don't wanna get emotional now, but we did it. So, you know, I really wanted to approach this one a little differently. I've done it in the past where I kind of talked about which one. I don't like to ever say what's better or worse. And I hope that this gives you an overview of like why you might use different lights for different things. And I think experimenting is key, right? And it doesn't have to be, you know, data lights and pro photo. It could be your small flash and a work lamp. Anything that you can use to mix together to see how these lights work together is going to help you. I will be back next week, I think. Yes, for advanced flash. So we started getting there here. We're going to do multi-pop. We're going to do pop and blur like correctly, like not just messing around. And we're going to do some more advanced flash techniques. We'll talk about rear curtain sync. We'll talk about high-speed sync, all that stuff you guys see buzzing around. People are like, I use high-speed sync outside.
I'm gonna take you my old flash.
Okay.
Flashes.
Yep. Okay.
Smaller
Yeah, you can use a small flash for sure. So thanks for coming, guys. I think there's one spot left. If anybody's local in New York or is coming to New York, myself and Seth Miranda, aka Last Witness, we're doing a workshop on Saturday. So if you guys are interested in that, DM us on Instagram. He's Last Ex Witness. I am Daniel Norton. Follow me on YouTube, Daniel Norton Photographer. Follow Adorama. There's a Twitch channel now on Adorama. How did they get to that?
Class on Tuesdays.
Oh, and Seth's class. That's the most important part. Come on Tuesday. Seth's doing a speed light class. He doesn't do as many classes as he used to do, and they're always worth coming to. So, no, for sure. Are you going to stream it? Facebook. Streamed on Facebook. So you guys are watching right now on YouTube. Make sure you sign up for Adorama's Facebook. You definitely want to see that class.
You're putting this video on Facebook? Right?
This one is on YouTube right now. You're famous. Your followers are exploding right now, sir. All right. So thanks for helping out. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. Oh, I hit it too fast.